Let little bit introduce myself. My name is Andriy Rogovets. I'm working in VAD distributor who is covering CIS countries, and we have a strong partnerships with our partner HTS. My personal responsibility is business development manager for vendor of Delphix. Before we started of presentation, I want to little bit to discuss one story with customer. Main of our product is proposal for develops in part of the testing for data, everything around the data. And then I come to CIO or DevOps team and ask him about how quick data they refresh, how much data they have in the non-product part in development part. And usually now it's in most of countries of CIS customers, it's can be 10 and more terabytes for non-product environment and services, because the acceleration is quicker and quicker, and the data it's more and more, and it's just a very short information for very significantly increase of the data generally, and especially the testing, because if you want to implement some in production, you need to be at least a few copies of non-product part. And in this case, I had to ask the guy, okay, how much copy you have for at least now for enterprise? It's one of the typical cases, yeah. And he said, okay, I have 5 or 6 databases like Oracle, SQL, or Postgres for testing our environment. I say, okay, it's enough for you? I say, no, we want to be at least 15 or 10. And I ask, why you not be delivered now? Says they have a problem with volume of data, the storage, and of course with testing process environment, with internal processes. And I say, okay, if we will be deliver how much, how you can, you will be happy, or they say, no, it's impossible because it's very expensive for us. And this is the story what I usually started with most of the customer for discussion and partners, and we started this. Because main of volume of the product and features, it's providing clear data and very quick information update. And of course, in the main challenges, what I just described, it's go to faster as we can, and need to be angel in the product of development and other process inside of IT. Moreover, in part of the manage of security risk, a lot of we have now a lot of challenges even in part of the non-product databases and non-product test environment. Why? Because the data it's clear, yeah, but they real, and this is not very compliant in part of the a lot of internal processes like GDPR, for example, or local countries regulations and etc. Because we can show this security risk for sensitive data like name of social ID or tax ID and etc. And some transaction details if we're talking about the finance or billing system. And of course, we need to reduce the cost because other question is what I want to head instead of all presentations about we need to be changing something or add or etc. for the using different technologies, implementing new features, changing architecture or deployment process. In general, for the proposed solutions, we more concentrate on the data and not be changing existing architecture in part of the some strong changes in revolution. Yeah, we go by step, and in the what they need of increasing on demand for data consumers, in part of because they have now started implementing cloud technology for increasing part of developing more fast deployment and development. And of course, last one is data-driven decisions. It's some reports, analysis, and etc. And from in data operators level, who is also, of course, including the DevOps team, because they always using the data inside of this in Q&A, in deployment process, in all stage of the development. Don't matter what is the methodology will be applied. And generally we have some challenges like governance, increasing governance risk, and to work with enterprise silos and manual process, because it's also very important in part of the working with silos data. And this is data friction. And what I also want to say is the data is most important asset in part of the refresh information, refresh in all process of development, because they always include in each steps of testing process, yeah, testing and provisioning and etc. What if we have a better way? And generally, we propose for very quick deliver data, how you can need, and manage hundreds copies or how much you need for with full visibility for your develops needs. And of course, most of important parties, we reduce storage overhead because we use virtualized database platforms for this solution. I little bit discuss about this. And in part of the masking, we protect the sensitive data in the central of managing compliance. For this part, for data consumers, of course, everyone want to develop in and test in production like a data, less clear and pure data as soon as possible, because the most of new approach of the data are portable and available and secure, and we'll little bit to speak about this now. Instruct on the architecture, we have on-premise or cloud part, and some features like depends of current situation, what infrastructure you have in data level. And other point is applications, starting from applications to level of database layer. And what we can to provide, it's virtualized, secure, and manage the data. Then integrated with all APIs like Jenkins, plus all other tools who have APIs, we can integrate it together to some containers like Datapod names. And each one of the role who have developer, Q&A analyst, or data scientist, they can work with their own Datapod, and then we can working together in self-service model. It means they're not involvement in traditional IT infrastructure, IT managers and DBA. They not be invited in this process generally. They invited, but very, very rare. And for virtualization, we compress the databases and data, synchronize, and create the data for make more quicker provisioning. And in approach of the secure, we have masking options, what you can to use automatically masking data to use a profiler and to provide secure copy of data in any place. And of course, the manage, it's distribution part and report manage. This is, as I said, personal data pods for everyone who can use. For both general role, for data operators and data consumers, we have, and they own data pods, we have very unique features and manage the data as they want. For personal, secure, they lightweight and dynamic. Especially for dynamic part, we can do parallel of using branching, parallel of the process of developing. We can share database, or in the process of testing, we can use version process, refresh data in the point what you need, and of course the bookmark if we need to be to back for some solution. And from data operators level, they need of course the use low of volume of the data, secure, and automatization is also very important. For benefits, we generally reduce of release cycles up to 50% because, as I say, we use unique features for parallel testing and increasing testing environments and working with data how we have. And the time for improved productivity and wait time for developers is below 0 because they have direct communication between teams, and they have create and to deploy the data how much they need in any time, just in using self-service. And of course, last one, but not the last in the benefits, it's infrastructure efficiencies, because to decrease the volume of the storage and the utilization of storage. In security, as I say, we providing the profiling secure data for non-production, for testing environment, and guarantees what is the data, everything is anonymized and secured. And last one option, it's a cloud. We enable in cloud, and we can be help for testing environment, for remove from your on-premise platform to the cloud platform, and it's more efficient, more flexible, and more usable for in part of the resources utilization. And generally, this is an example for cloud and on-premise integration, but it's the same as on-premise. What about we have very quick integration and synchronized with production. Our production source is on-premise, and then we can replicate incremental changes in the delay what you need, and refresh the data for your own production. And we can to refresh for one or other, depends of the role or how you need. And other than we have refresh and branch, if the need, we can branch our databases how we need in very deeply level. And in this case, we can to split between the teams work. And rewind data for prior stage. And for now, it's a lot of various scenarios. For us, the most interested in the first and the analytics and reporting, but it's not just one. As I described for development and testing, what is the main discussion today? We have a shorten release cycles by 15%. It's depending on the platform, because we can in-house solution and developing for some ERP or CRM system like SIP or Zibel CRM, for example. They also have some own development for each customer. Then, of course, the reduce of storage volume for non-production system generally, and elimination of data risk for non-product environment. And of course, the main, it's we're working with current, existing, and high-quality data. And we're working with full copy of databases, not using any tricks like a sub-buffering or etc. And very close for analytics, very short. It's dramatically accelerate for time for useful data. We can also using this for offline reports and for extracts from production and etc. And the same, we can deliver how much copy, how we need. All other cases also apply in the data cloud, data center migration, GSRA, and data protection recovery. About the examples, it's one of the slides for StatHub. StatHub it's now part of the eBay. It's one of the biggest, how to say, platform for internet in the world. And this is very short the strategies of CIO roadmap and how after they using the Delphix data platform. And for example, in 2013, they have 14 days, 2 weeks, yeah, for releasing some the main solution prod, and they decrease it for 2 days, yeah. In 2 years ago, yeah, they have from 2 days for 2 hours in our. And they increase the self-service and reminder creation and refresh data and integration with DevOps. From now, we have an expand to the public cloud, and the data is released as we need in part of integration of continuously of integration and continuously of development. And this is a very interesting example and part of high-level understanding of the business development part in one of the big customer. And yeah, as my also very lovely example, it's as you know, the HP, it's have a mergers and acquisitions, and there's separately 2 companies with HP Enterprise and HP. And this is very seriously challenge for not only for business part, but also in part of the infrastructure, because they have one of the biggest SAP implementation customer in the world in ERP. And they also have a huge of DevOps team who is supported this part. And using the Delphix solutions, they can split of data inside of the for diverse of the companies, and split the data, and nobody not feel it. And everything seems the same as before. And of course, the zero downtime of for any activities. Yeah. After we have a more faster sub-provisioning and refresh the data and rewind lower than 1 hour. Still, they have 2 consolidation information for each companies. Yeah. I will be stay, but very closely is example for accelerate for Facebook from 21 to 2 days for refresh their own data. It's very significantly, and the company, it's very young, but the Delphix started go to innovation. It's main of the financial technology and telecom industries in Fortune 100, and not only. We have a lot of references in CIS and also, of course, in Europe, Central Europe and Europe countries. Thanks. If you have a question more deeply technically or some generally, I'll be present in our and will be answer. Thank you.